for the hearing too? Approve
Yes.
the minutes? Okay. So can someone motion to approve those?
So motion.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. Privilege of floor number 1. Thanks for coming. Yes. Hi.
Hi. I have information about the, working on the reconstruction project, which everyone was familiar with from the Old Ward, Bridge Road, Reservoir intersection, all the way down to Broadway Street that we had done last year or so, which was a stopgap measure to make it so that we could keep Highland Street intact until roughly 2022, when it was in the 10-year plan for the state. It got moved to 2027. The amount that we had to pay to do just that stopgap measure was very high. I believe it was $500,000, and it would be more to do the actual work on it. We need to have the state's money in order to do that. It needs to be moved back to 2022. There's a meeting that Mr. Halloran is going to be going to, as well as people who are involved with the town with letters of support. I have a petition that is from Plymouth residents, as well as those who are not Plymouth residents, but are concerned with the safety and condition of Highland Street, that says, "We, the undersigned, are in favor of a reconstruction project at the intersection of Old Ward Bridge Road and Highland Street in order to improve safety and road conditions." It wouldn't just be the actual Highland Street Road, it would also be altering the intersection of Old Ward so that it is more of a straight shot and perpendicular instead of the angle that it's at now. So if anybody has any questions, they can see me after, but it would be great if we could get signatures on this tonight.
Okay.
Thanks, Jenny.
Anyone else like to speak? No? All right, moving on to principal report.
Well, we have some hot off the presses news. Paul Mason in 8th grade has qualified for the state level of the National Geography Bee. So we've only done that twice, last year and this year, so that is exciting. And we wish him well, and we'll keep you posted. And also, similarly, Rin Joliker, who is an 8th grader, will be competing this Saturday at the State Spelling Bee at Plymouth State University. So some fun things that we do here at Plymouth Elementary. Bravo to our Team 4, the great curators of the Wax Museum. Monday evening before vacation, the intermediate wing was packed with families coming to view famous wax tributes. From Helen Keller to Derek Jeter to Walt Disney, Einstein, you name it, they were here. Students did an outstanding job with their reading, with their research, writing, performing their focus, their topic. It was fun. They all had little buzzers, and they were in their pose. You hit the buzzer, and off they went. It was wonderful. I want to thank the students and thank the teachers as well, Mrs. Dixon, Mrs. Perkins, Mr. Mercer, and Mrs. LeBrun for going above and beyond to make learning challenging, relevant, vibrant, and fun. So, also on Monday evening, sorry, these dates are a little off, but another Monday evening at the Bobcat Cafe in the Plymouth Regional High School, we had 6 middle school students present their research and analytics to 3 local businesses. This was from our economics club that Dr. Daniel Lee has done for 6 years now. The students' presentations were professional, relevant, and insightful, and they were so confident and were even able to bring some humor. It was great to see them apply what they learned in a real-life context. So thank you to Dr. Daniel Lee from Plymouth State University and a parent here at Plymouth Elementary School for working with our students. He would be here 2 or 3 mornings a week right here in the computer lab way before anything else started, working with students, and then also recruiting businesses. And thank you to the businesses who volunteered to work with our students, and that was Mike Ahern. This is his 3rd year working with us, and this was with his land properties that he had the students research. Danielle Sargent, who has a web design, and Tina Freitas, who has a cleaning business. So the students who presented included Connor Heidenreich Anthony Sousa, Ariane Lee, Chloe Sargent, Norman Sackett, and Evan Duchat. And they're going to be something else when they get older. They were great. And at our February faculty meeting, we had Marjorie Schoonmaker from the Department of Education, from the Health and Safety, and she is something else as well. She is able to go through any school building and really detect any violations, whether it's an allergen type of violation or something in the room that's not fire retardant at the right level. So we had gone through that process and then had her come back and talk with our staff and explain things. So she did a great job, and it was well received. And overall, she gave our building, of course, a gold standard. So we're happy with that. Important dates coming up. We have this coming Monday, March 9th, a half day for parent-teacher conferences, a noon dismissal. Also that morning, we have Shannon Dissolette from Choose Love coming to present to our middle school students. Very similar, or at least along the same vein as when we've had Rachel's Challenge come for our students. So we are expecting great conversations among our students. March 18th is Cultural Arts Night, and March 31st and April 1st, the middle school play, the Nifty 50s. And on April 3rd, we have an author visit, Chris Van Dusen. I distributed the enrollment as well, and again, solid. We have 2 new kindergartners over this week and next week, so we're not losing anybody. So that's where we're at.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Good evening.
Hi.
So I am going to give our final winter sports report. So I know the other teams had finished up, but we still had Nordic ski and wrestling. We're still going. Our Nordic skiers competed at the state meet back on February 17th. That was at the Sandwich Fairgrounds. There were a total of 17 teams that were racing. Our boys team placed 7th overall, with Nathaniel Gervais finishing 6th and Leo Ebner placing 10th. Rounding out the scoring for the boys team was Paul Mason, Maddox Elaine, Zealand Stocklosa, and Connor Heidenreich. Our girls team showed very well and placed 3rd overall out of 17 teams. Addie Englund was the top team female finisher for PES in 4th place. And then again, rounding out the scoring for the girls was Ellie Englund, followed by Annie Flynn, Emma Smith, Kelsey Main, and Claire Gervais. Sydney Valente, who was one of our 2-sport athletes and did basketball and Nordic, finished 0.3 of a second out of the scoring. So she was tough coming back. And proud of the girls, too. We had a total of 13 girls competing that day. All 13 of them finished the race. So some nice potential there for the future. Many thanks go out to Maureen Ebner and Greg Anglin for just a great season and doing a lot of work with those kids. And they enjoyed it. They had fun. With the wrestlers, we had our 5th and 6th grade wrestlers at the Novice States on Sunday, February 16th, and that was held at Timberlane High School. And our 7th and 8th grade wrestlers competed at the Meet of Champions. That was on Sunday, February 23rd at Keene High School. In the Novice States, Ben Valente placed 1st at the tournament, winning his finals match by a score of 10-0. Ben is now a 2-time Novice State champion. He took 1st last year as well. So kudos to him. Great job. Aiden Patridge also placed, taking 4th place overall in his weight class area. Aiden had a couple of pins on the day. Quickest one, coach told me, pinned a student in 11 seconds. So impressive day for Aiden as well. Anthony Torres and Blaine Hiltz also had wins on the day. Anthony won a match by pin, and Blaine won a match with a score of 6-1. And Dominic Ciotti was his first time competing in the tournament, brand new wrestler, and he had a good day too. Wrestled very tough. At the Meet of Champions, Emmett Nosman was second place overall, and Jack Witcher placed sixth. So moving on, Ben, Aiden, Emmett, and Jack have all qualified for the New England meet, and that is held on Sunday, March 17th, and that is at St. John's Prep in Danvers, Mass. So congratulations to all of them, to the team, and again, many thanks to Zach Stewart and Brian Lonergan coaching the team. Good group and fun season for the boys. Also, prior to the February break, that Friday before we had left, we always have our annual Winter Olympics in the middle school, a little friendly competition up there, and I love the team names, so I have to share some of them. Teams such as the McGlone Marauders, the Greenler Greenlights, the Sambor Celebrities, the Deloge Ducks, and my favorite, the McDonald Knights of the Golden Arches. Took to the fields, the classrooms, the gymnasium. Great day of activities. They had outdoor and indoor. We had some snow kickball going on, spelling bees, relay races, bowling, name that tune, broom ball. Just a fun day overall. And we always end with a all-school or middle school volleyball game down in the gym with some of our PES alumni coming back to join, along with faculty and staff jump in and play as well. So it's a lot of fun. So credit always goes out to those middle school teachers showing their support. They were dressed, wearing their team colors, all of that, running the events, bringing equipment, snacks, you name it. And many thanks to Nancy Stock for the overall organization of the event. It was a fun day. Good way to end the break, or to start the break, I should say. So that's it.
Thank you. 2021 calendar. Sorry. Claims and payroll. Everybody, that's going good. Correspondence.
The only correspondence I had was to repeat what we talked about earlier with the Highland Street project and the town asking for support on that. So we were notified at the end of last week during school vacation, and Mark Halloran will be going down to testify in support of it. So I just wanted to let all of you know that.
And as we discussed, there's a petition here, and anyone in attendance can sign.
Correct.
Thank you.
What date is that?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yes, the 3rd.
Okay.
Sorry, thank you. 2021 calendar.
So we passed out a draft calendar that admin had worked on with feedback from others. So I'm going to ask Julie and Kelly to just kind of review it real quick. Just a few notable pieces with the draft. We're looking at August 19th, 20th as in-service days, SAU day, as well as in the building. And the first day of school, Labor Day falls a little late this year. So the first day of school starting the 25th, which is a 4-day week. The following week would be another, am I getting that? 4-day week. So you're easing in that way. And then on the 7th, you have Labor Day. On the 8th, it's a state primary election, no school. So it goes 4, 4, and then 3. Looking at the last day of school without any weather, being June 15th with that. So, is there any other highlights you wanted to point out as far as specific to Plymouth?
I know that in the past, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving has always gone back and forth between a half day of school and no school. In this draft, it's no school day, so that's something to think about. And the only other piece, typically we have a 3-day resumptive at the beginning of the school year in August, 18th, 19th, and 20th, or, with teachers. But we have an in-service day built in on October 9th, an SAU-wide in-service day. So we only have, teachers have 5 work days beyond the 180 school days. So we talked about 2 days to start the school year, with the notion that one day would be for the SAU day and the other day would be they would have the day for the classroom preparation. So if that doesn't happen, then we'll have to go back to the drawing board. So, but I think it looks great.
And then with vacations being same with the last week in February, last week in April.
Are those, Frank and I were talking earlier, those winter breaks, that February and April typically mandated, like is that a statewide, like you have to have vacation on those weeks?
No, not mandated.
Okay.
No mandated vacations for
Okay.
anyone.
Well, I wasn't sure,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, the state has weird
Yeah.
rules, so. And then the other thing, you know, as a working parent, having a half day in the middle on a Thursday isn't really convenient for a working parent. So I would like to see that half day in March be either on a Monday or a Friday instead of a Thursday. It's much easier, and I don't speak for all working parents, but for this working parent. Yeah, okay, all right, thank you. So,
I'm sorry, Amy, what,
Yeah,
to
there-
move
there
it.
would need
to move it
half
to
day.
a
Monday or
to a
Friday.
Monday or Friday?
It would have to be a board.
Do you want to just move it to the
So
12th
that-
or
is that a
the?
motion?
That
That's, yeah, I would, can someone make
consensus.
Is there a reason
consensus?
why it's on a Thursday from administrative standpoint?
No, I think we just went and looked at what we've done in the past.
Well, I would say make a motion to move it to Friday, the 12th.
What month are you in?
March.
March.
It's not highlighted.
From the 11th.
Yeah, it's from the 11th to the 12th.
Yeah.
Someone second Frank's motion.
Is there any relevant information that would be problematic if we did that?
No.
Second.
All in favor of moving it from the 11th to the 12th, half day in March?
I would be in favor of that, yes.
All right. Good deal. Thanks.
Yeah.
The only other discussion I feel like we should at least entertain is that there's been somewhat a statewide effort to consider starting school later after the Labor Day holiday. And just doing some rough math, it looks like we have 4 school days. There are 2 4-day weeks that start off in August. And I'm not making a motion to change anything, but I would like to address the fact that if we were to start the school year on September 9th, it looks like our last day would be June 25th. That would be 8 more school days. Does that sound right to you? So
Without snow days.
Barring snow days.
Without snow days.
without snow days, right?
Yeah.
So if we
Yeah.
have 5 snow days, it puts us
Chances of
almost
that happening?
into the 4th of July. Yes.
Past June 30th.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to recommend we stay with the calendar as proposed, but I do think it's worth discussing.
Blizzard bags. Anyone ever talked about, have we used those, not used those, their reason? Just talk to
So
folks
it
in other
has been
districts.
talked about before. You typically have to have a certain percentage. There are guidelines around the state on the blizzard bags piece. Each of our districts serves as different unions and collective bargaining agreements, so it would have to be done through that.
I see.
So it is a collective bargaining issue as well. We have we've heard it every once in a while with blizzard bags. We've heard more on if it's a day off, it just should be a day off. And then there's been some districts with blizzard bags that have not reached the percentage that you need to be at to count as a blizzard bag day too. But many districts use it. It's an option. I'm not for it or against it, but it would be something to discuss, and it is a negotiating issue as well. Yeah.
What does it do for us?
I know.
It knocks out a day or two, but we have the authority to do that anyways with ours. But again, all of those are negotiations
So
issues.
my understanding is that schools establish a blizzard bag process where the kids have standing work that they can do on a snow day, and basically
Whether
because
it's
if you get
online
enough
or-
enrollment, if you get enough participation, then we can count the day as a full school day even though the kids are home. So I actually
Maybe my kids are the exception, but I don't know that would work in our house.
There's arguments on both sides, for sure.
Those against, well. Okay. Do we need to vote on this calendar?
If you're ready to,
Do you guys have
Sure.
any qualms?
No, the only other question I had, Julie, you mentioned the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Right.
Is there a plus or minus to having it off versus having a half day? Or I'm fine with it being whatever. I don't have a strong opinion. I was just curious if there was needed to be any discussion about it.
If it's a half day, that puts our last
The day
day
counts.
to June 14th.
if you get through lunch, it counts as a day.
I'm also looking at this particular year, we lose 2 school days to election days also. That's not every year, but
Do we close the school for every election, or are there some that we stay open for? Do we stay open for town elections?
The trend has been to close the school, so lately.
Right. And it's somewhat about parking as much as access, isn't it?
Security has become an
Security
issue
has
in
been
the
the-
latest, where that's been more safety and security as far as keeping the school open with kids in it,
Right.
has been,
But we-
just through
we-
safety committees is not,
Even with the ability to put barriers in hallways and have an officer present?
yes.
I'm okay with
The-
that. I mean, the parking alone is a problem, which, you know, if it's prohibiting people from voting because there's a perceived lack of parking, then I can see, you know, part of the reason to stay closed. That's okay.
I mean, historically, we have had the building open.
Sure.
And it's been a civic lesson in action for the kids. But I think it's just been more contentious in the past few years. So we've worked really closely with Chief LaFave over the safety, and really he feels very strongly that we should close the building. So we follow his lead on that.
Fair enough.
Was there a driver this year in making the Wednesday before Thanksgiving a full day off, or where we
There
had
wa-
it a half day?
Yeah, no,
There
I worked with Karen McLeod and Edna Miller, and so that this really comes from them. So
Okay.
from the teachers that who travel or have
Okay.
the baking. So
Okay.
And it really varies throughout the district.
Yeah.
It just depends on, we have no preference either way.
I would move that we move forward with the calendar as proposed, with the one change of the half-day that had originally been scheduled for March 11th would be moved to March 12th.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Favor.
All right, thank you. Principal search update.
Yep, so I did say that I would update you each month on where we are in the search process. In the next 2 weeks, we'll be interviewing candidates. We had a meeting with the search committee. We had a great group of candidates apply. So we'll be starting that this week and into next week. So we'll be doing our first round of interviews then.
Thank you.
Budget hearing prep.
Yeah, so you should be all set, I think, for district meeting. I do have little cards that we typically do, so I don't know with the moderator if you each want to take one of the warrant articles to read for a second or to make a motion. So you can hand those, you can distribute those. You can choose first as the chair.
The shortest one.
Is there anything else you're thinking of for budget, for the district meeting prep?
I can't think of anything. I think we had good feedback at
Yeah.
our listening session and we're hearing. I would suspect we'll have good turnout.
Yeah.
Is there any other business? All right. Privilege of the floor number 2.
Can we look at the warrant articles before the meeting?
They are in the gym already, so all the handouts are right out there.
Do you know offhand if the language was changed in article number 5 about the reading session?
No,
It was not changed,
no, it is as is.
so it's not recommended by the board?
So
It was
Yeah.
recommended by
I
the
think we
board.
included language
Yeah.
to recommend them all, right?
Yeah.
So they don't say recommended all, but it is, you can say that at the meeting as well.
We can make that clear.
Also, going back to the calendar, I was wondering if there's any, what the history is on having the 2 spring breaks, one in February and one in April, when that came about, if it's always been that way, or?
Way before my time.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I would say, even, I can
had both
speak
as
on
a
behalf
kid.
of Mark too, the whole time he's been here, almost 30 years. I think it's always been the week after the mass vacation week and the week after the April vacation week. So it's always,
And then
I don't know when it hasn't been that way.
The February, we always talk about that it is a germ.
It comes at the right
You know,
time.
I know that our custodians really hit the building hard last week as far as cleaning from top to bottom. So that's the only piece I'm aware of, is that's why that
A
particular,
lot of kids tend to get sick of that.
right.
Yeah, we did have a pretty high rate going in
This year, yeah.
to February vacation across the SAU.
Something, that I thought about is just that it's, families that have the money can travel during that time, but there are a lot of, working families that can't, and the kids are just home, watching TV for 2 weeks there, missing school. So I think it unfairly benefits wealthier families, and I don't know. I think it would be nicer to just have the one break and maybe have it coincide with the PSU spring break, so that that helps a lot of families, and then have a little more time in summer. But I'm sure 30 years of tradition would be hard to change. But just my 2 cents on it all. I think it's hard on a lot of families.
So the answer is really, we've always done it that way, right? I mean, that's, okay, all right.
I mean, there really is.
That's a fair answer. I mean, and that's a good point. I think when I got here, I was sort of like, why do we have 2 weeks off every year? I think that's a great future discussion item. As you pointed out very astutely, Meredith, I don't know moving forward how much that people get excited about making that change if we decided to make that change in the future.
Yeah.
But it's a great
It
point.
would be nice to get input from lots of
Yes.
families and see if,
Absolutely.
how people feel
Yes.
about it.
Yes. Cool.
Thank you. All right. Going to non-public. Kelly? Yeah? Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Public, so you're good.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
No non-public.
There is no non-public, all right. We'll see you guys,
Get ready.
yeah.